Digital transformation and artificial intelligence is going to change our lives like never before.
All right, you industrial warriors out there, that is Mr. Alok Pant. He is CEO of Unvired. And you know what he's passionate about? He's passionate about your success, your industrial success. And he wants to apply technology such as digital assistants, chat box, and so on to help you succeed in your industrial business and professional career. So enjoy the conversation because I did.
Welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast with Scott McKenzie. Scott is a passionate industry professional dedicated to transferring cutting-edge, industry-focused innovations and trends while highlighting the men and women who keep the world moving. So put on your hard hat, grab your work boots, and let's go.
All right, let's go, man. I'm ready to get it. Thank you very much for joining the Industrial Talk Podcast. My name is Scott McKenzie, and I am so glad that you are here. In the intro, you heard we're going to be talking to a gentleman by the name of Alok Pant. I'm looking forward to that conversation because he really knows his stuff, and I really appreciate you. I truly do. This platform is for you, the industrial professional, the companies that get this, world moving. I am passionate about your success. So thank you very much for joining. Let's get this show on the road. I like it. That's my singing, if you didn't know that. Anyway. Yeah, busy week. Got some stuff going on out there. I'm doing a little go big in 6-minute series because I want to make sure you guys have some really tangible stuff on a daily basis. But before we get into that interview, you know what we got to do.
Tailgate Talk number 1.
Okay, once again, I'm going to continue to talk about this company. It's Reliability Web. Reliability Web, they're the leaders, without a doubt, bar none, in the reliability space. They they're on their website, reliabilityweb.com. You go out there, and if you have any, the reliability industry is fantastic. The people are passionate, and they're constantly pushing that envelope, finding new solutions to keep that asset up and running. But those folks out in Reliability Web, they do a great job. So go out there, reliabilityweb.com, root around. They've got events, certifications, education, books, you name it. Uptime Magazine, it's free. Uptime Magazine is free. Just, sign up, boop, it comes in, and you get the latest and greatest in reliability. So that's reliabilityweb.com. Go find them because they're fantastic.
Number 2.
Okay, I've been alluding to this big time. This is the Industrial Academy that can be found at industrialtalk.com. And this features all of the leaders within the industrial space. And it, once again, spans from leadership all the way to technology and everything in between. So go out there, look around, see what you think, give me some feedback. We've got a website that you can sit there and say, hey, Scott, I think this would be great. And if not, once again, it's all about you and your success and being able to feature great people to make you a success, your career, your company, expand that market. Man, I can't complain about that. So that's Industrial Academy. Go out there, industrialtalk.com, find out more.
Number 3.
Okay, I'm going to be running a campaign, and the campaign is going to be specific to industrial heroes. And because I'm honored. We're part of a great group of people who are dedicated to keep this, keep the wheels on America and the world going and moving forward. I am so passionate about being a part of the industrial world. And so I'm looking for industrial heroes. And those are individuals that go above and beyond just your standard stuff. And they do remarkable things. They could be contributing to communities, helping people out in time of need. And so I'm going to be running a campaign. So look forward to that. And see what we can do, because I want to highlight them on this particular podcast because, well, it's important, So anyway, that's it. I've already given you the industrial approved food in the last one. I'm telling you, Instant Pot. Fantastic stuff. All right, I'm going to get into the interview because I'm really passionate about it. And we talk a little bit about how we use technology as an assistant to your work, right? And whether you like it or not, whether you're a pro or con or whatever it is, the reality is that it's here to stay. And it's either you're in the game or you're not. Your competition is, and how do you leverage technology to truly benefit you as a professional, as a company? And Alok, He was phenomenal. He was phenomenal. I really enjoyed the conversation. And you know, when you talk to people who really have insight into technology and all of the things that are changing within the industrial world, Alok, man, he was the man. And he's with Unvired, right? Unvired. And we're going to give you all the contact information at the end of this interview. So once again, everybody out there, enjoy this conversation with Alok Pant. And he's the CEO of Unvired. So enjoy. All right, Alok. And that sounds like Coke, Alok Pant. I am so glad and honored that you are here on the Industrial Talk podcast. Thank you very much for joining. How are you doing?
Thank you, Scott, for having me. I'm doing fine. How are you?
Thank you very much for asking. I'm doing well because I get to speak to you because you're a spectacular professional. And I'm really excited about having you on the podcast because, well, you've got some stuff to talk about because I'm intrigued with, first off, AI. Secondly, what you do for the marketplace and what your focus is. But more importantly, I want to hear, and I'm sure the listeners want to hear, and about your background, where you come from, and why you're so spectacular. Why don't you give us a little 411 on who you are?
Sure. So, Scott, I have a master's in chemical engineering from the University of Akron, Ohio. And after that, I became an Aggie. I got my MBA from Texas A&M.
And I'm not going to hold that against you because we here in Louisiana definitely are Tiger fans. And you stole the doggone football. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Right. So very proud Aggie. And after that, I had a brief stint where I was working for a NASA contractor transferring technology to the U.S. commercial sector. And after that, I got into the whole world of consulting and software. So before I was with Unwired, I was actually working for a large Japanese consulting company, Entity Data. And just before that, I spent about 5 years with SAP, which is a large software company.
Everybody knows SAP. Yep.
Out of Silicon Valley in California.
Yeah. So you've got a very and very deep technology background, which is very good. And here at the Industrial Talk, I think that my passion is, of course, leadership and content, and really now the marrying of technology and success of businesses pretty much going forward, right? Because I think that's vitally important. So let's talk a little bit about where you are today in your tech, but what problems and challenges are you solving from the past? Does that make sense? It's like, give me that past, and then why your solution is sort of interesting in solving it.
Right. So the problem that we are actually solving for customers is really enabling customers to interact with their, or rather companies to interact with their customers, with their partners, with their employees in this whole new gray world of digital. So we enable all kinds of digital interactions. So what used to be done on paper-based processes, manual processes, right? It used to take time. We are basically at the cutting edge of technology, enabling that whole digital transformation, right? So whether it's building mobile apps, web apps, and chatbots, and we'll get into it. But the problem we are solving is twofold. One is, transforming businesses, and secondly, enabling their workers to do their work anytime, anywhere.
So what we're talking about is that, okay, in the past, everything used to be, well, quite frankly, manual, paper, manual, heavily influenced by the human interaction, which is not bad. Don't get me wrong. I still advocate the necessity for some level of human interaction, but there are activities that were, one, redundant, not really productive, but they needed to get done. Are you saying the tech that you're talking about is the ability to remove all of that sort of redundant and I don't know, you're trying to improve that customer interaction with the company?
Well, yes, partly, but even more importantly, think about it. What happens when everything that was on paper and disconnected is now all in databases and the data is digital. Now you have this treasure of data which you can analyze and you can make better decisions, right? These decisions could be better financial decisions, better asset management decisions coming to the industrial world, right? How do I better predict when I should maintain an asset? So it's all about using that data and making better decisions. So for example, IoT, right? The Internet of Things. Now we have sensors and a lot of equipment, right? You're getting that data. How do you connect that data, what we call the operational data, the OT data? How do you connect that with your traditional IT systems like Oracle and SAP? And how do you marry IT, OT to really, again, get one view of how your company is doing, right? So that's just one example of how this whole digital data is helping us make better decisions.
Yeah, but see here, I live in the real world, and my life, Alok, is wrapped around today the tactical, and then I look at my financials on a quarterly basis, and for me to try to keep up with technology is really difficult because you, Alok, are thinking tech. Me, I'm thinking just trying to keep the lights on and making payroll and things like that. I mean, it's a challenging environment out there, don't you think?
Yes. Yeah, it is. But let me tell you something. Before I think tech, and I'm speaking for all our employees, we think business processes and the business strategy, because technology and technical should only follow the business strategy. So, for example, let's start with a customer case study in your world, in the industrial world. So we have a chemicals company, and it's a public reference for us, so I can name them. It's Kaneka. It's a chemicals company in Houston. It's part of a Japanese company, right? So their CIO had this vision of making a digital plant, right? So it all started with the business processes, and within the digital plant, what his focus was: how do I digitize my asset management? So I have people today who take a clipboard, and they are going around the equipment and taking readings of temperature, pressure on paper. They have work orders are on paper, right? Work is not getting down on time. How do I increase my throughput so that ultimately, what is the business goal? Is to increase the plant uptime. When the plant produces more polymers, everybody makes more money. So that's how we connect right from the business process to the technology to ultimately the business results.
But so you lay it down. You have to have it's sort of for lack of a better term, a war room. And then you sit down and you analyze in a very detailed manner the process, the business process, beginning to end. This is as is, and this is where we want to go to be, and be more efficient and see the gaps and all of that associated with it. Is that sort of, and then in that model, in that process model, you're able to say, okay, technology here, and be able to satisfy whatever those pain points are, those gaps, whatever it might be.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, because you sit in a war room, you identify the as is to be, and as you said, the gaps. And then, so let's take a concrete example. So in this case, this chemicals company, Kaneka in Houston, right? So one of the gaps was they said, okay, we are going to go with industrial hardened iPads, okay, away from paper. So they challenged us to think, okay, what does the iPad now give us? So as a simple example, the iPad gives you the ability to measure GPS, your location coordinates, right? So one of the things we did in the asset management world was we basically captured the GPS location of the asset, so that when the worker would go and do their inspections, they had to be within a certain feet or of within the equipment, let's say within 20 feet, so that we knew that the person was actually taking the readings right in front of the equipment, right? So again, just an example of how you are capturing these new features. Or we took advantage of the camera in the mobile device. So if a person is having a problem, they can take a picture or even do a FaceTime call and call with their expert who's probably sitting in the office and say, hey, this valve seems wrong, what's wrong? So the whole challenge is you don't want to just recreate the process on digital, you want to enhance the process by leveraging the new advances that have come with technology.
And I would imagine too, and one of the battles that I see out there is time, right? And if you can do more in less time and compress that time and focus on your processes to be able to do that, I think everybody, and that's where the advantages and benefits come, because you're doing more in less time, and you're effective, and you're solving problems in less time.
Effective is the key word, right? So you're being effective in multiple areas. Yeah.
Yeah, being in the industry and in an industrial market for so many years, there was a point in time where everybody talked about something like this, right? Everybody says, hey, Wouldn't it be great to be able to do this, that, and the other thing out in the field and have that communication? But it was as if the thinking was there, but the technology was not there. It was like, yeah, we're dreaming of this bright new future. But it seems to me today, Alok, is that the technology's there. There is nothing that, it's like the speed of technology is just boom, it's going. And whatever you think, you can do in some way, shape, or form.
Yes, because we've been talking about, for example, tablets right now, right? But our customers are already challenging us to use, wearables, so smart glasses, right? In a house. So the person is a hands-free environment, he's driving a forklift, and you can move equipment, in your back-end system like SAP just by talking and using smart glasses. So and smart watches, in fact, people want to kind of make decisions with smart watches. So what we are finding is, yes, there's a lot of technology. In fact, the challenge is what not to do, because again, everything has to fit in. The puzzle the pieces have to fit in. So you're right. So it's not just mobile tablets and phones. There's smart watches, there's smart glasses, there is Amazon Echo devices, and we are seeing the voice-based Echo devices used in warehouses. So there's a lot of technology.
And what's interesting, and this has sort of been the feedback that I've received quite a bit, quite frankly, is people like you, Alok, where you're always sort of thinking outside that box, to use that you're pushing the envelope always so fast. Now the technology is so rapidly changing. Me as a human being, I have a hard time even beginning to think to process version 1.0 versus, where you're at, and you're at 5.0.
So that's a good segue, Scott. So let's talk of 5.0. And this is what I'll also mention in my initial quote, the artificial intelligence piece of all this. So what is happening is that these applications, whatever we are building, right, have to get more intelligent or smarter over time. So let's talk about, we talked about mobile apps already. Let's talk about chatbots or digital assistants, right? Most of your listeners would probably be familiar with Alexa. Are you familiar with Alexa?
Yes, I am.
All right. So the whole idea is that, I think it is a commonly held belief now that in 3 or 4 years, voice will be the dominant interface in the enterprise, right? Even in our industrial world, we're already seeing Echo being used on warehouses, on the wall. People speak to it. So what we are finding is, so coming back to that intelligence theme, so as you build these chatbots, so let me explain what chatbots are.
Oh, I'm going to have to hold you because this is another segment. We're going to have to take a break right now. Thank you very much. We're going to be diving deep into chatbots and really talk about the future. And so hang tight. Thank you for joining the Industrial Talk Podcast. We will be right back.
You're listening to the Industrial Talk Podcast Network.
All right, the Industrial Talk Podcast has a new sponsor by the name of ASG Energy. Now, this company helps private companies as well as public organizations of all sizes reduce energy costs through the use of commercial LED lighting technology and electrical services. Now, you know me. I'm a big fan of LED just because, well, first off, I don't have to change the lights, but on a commercial basis, oh my gosh, the energy savings is phenomenal. The reduction in maintenance costs, phenomenal. Return on investment, quick, it's incredible. And the environmental benefits, self-explanatory. So, you have any questions about LED commercial lighting? You need to check out my friends at ASGEnergyLLC.com. Find out more because they know what they're doing. So check them out. All right, welcome back to the Industrial Talk Podcast. Thank you very much. We're talking to Alok, and that's rhymes with Coke because he told me about that. That's Alok Pant. And we're starting to dive into that AI, that technology, and where it's going, what the future looks like. And I'm excited about this segment. So you ended off in talking about 5.0, and then you started to proceed forward. Let's drive deep into that.
Right. So let's start with a couple of terms, and let's break it down for your listeners here.
Yeah.
So the new buzzword is conversational interfaces, or having conversations with systems just like humans have with one another, right? So the idea is, so let's come back to the industrial world. Let's paint a picture of the maintenance worker out there on the floor or on the field in the oil rig, and he sees something is broken, and he now needs to notify somebody, or what we also call create a notification, right? So he or they have a couple of choices. One, they could use a mobile tablet, or how about in this new world of 5.0, they just speak. They have a phone, mobile phone, and they just speak, actually, just English, plain English, create a notification, right? So here's the phone, and they're just speaking into it, create a notification. And this goes into your IBM Maximo system or SAP Plan Maintenance, and actually creates a maintenance so that somebody can follow up. This is what I'm talking about. It's the ability for humans to talk to systems and getting data back and forth between the system and them. And the whole idea being to simplify the user experience, just to simplify our work as also our home lives.
It's interesting, and this is not the same thing, because what you're talking about is some level of intellectual capability of that interaction with voice, right? And there's something more with that. My experience with voice, one, of course, is with Alexa, and it's normally saying, "Hey, play some music." And it plays music, and it understands me, even if I come yelling in and say, "Hey, Alexa, play blah, blah, blah," and it understands me, which is just fascinating to me. And that's still new stuff, relatively speaking. We've got a long way to go to be able to really refine that capability.
Right, exactly.
So yeah, go ahead. No.
Right. So now we've got this chatbot, and a chatbot means, having a chat, and a bot stands for robot, right? So you combine the two, and it means that, you have a small software program that is talking, to the system via your voice, right? Or chat. So how do you make it more intelligent? That is the key. So what happens is, let's say, I'm Bob, and I'm using this chatbot. I create a notification for the last 5 days. I'm working on a piece of equipment. And so the next time I'm trying to create a notification, the chatbot can actually prompt the user saying, "Hey, is this for this transformer here, or is this for this valve here?" So because it gets to know the interactions you are having, and so it becomes more intelligent over time. So it will prompt you to make your data entry easier. So that's what we're talking about. The chatbot learns from your behavior and becomes intelligent over time. So this could be for a maintenance area, it could be for a sales scenario, anything. That's the whole idea, that the bots and this is where artificial intelligence and natural language processing are coming.
See, that's and once again, correct me if I'm wrong, Alok, that it's really sort of in the beginning stages, right?
It is in the beginning stage, AI.
So we still got a long way to go.
Oh, yes.
But somebody was telling me in one of my conversations that there's this industrial revolution, and it took X amount of years, and then there's this other revolution, and now we're in the fourth industrial revolution, and every revolution has been, the compression has been so tight. So the industrial revolution took over, whatever, 30 years, or I don't have the data in front of me. Well, anyway, but you understand. And now this revolution is so fast and so fascinating to me. So let's talk a little bit about you. You've got a product out there, ChimeBot. Did I get that right?
Yes, Chime.
What problem is that product, that technology, solving for me?
Right. So the product that we have, the Chime bot, it's a bots platform, and the problem it really solves is it enables companies to interact with their employees, with their customers, and with their partners via this conversational interface that I talked about, right? So it is a platform that enables you to build chatbots, and these could be in any business use case. This could be for sales, for human resources, for asset management. But again, to put it very simply, the chatbots platform allows you to simplify your work life and also your home life, if need be, by allowing you or enabling you to have that conversation between a system and you.
So I can, and what you're saying is that, okay, I'll use Alexa just because that's what I buy that. I purchased it. It comes loaded with whatever the technology is, and everything's fine. And yeah. Are you saying that your ChimeBot gives me the ability to be able to create my own chatbot?
Yes, exactly.
Like, I can customize it for my application, my business, my Salesforce, whatever it might be, to be able, and then behind that chatbot is the analytics. It's the ability to continue to learn, grow, and understand.
Exactly. And there's one more piece to it. Let me break it down. There are three pieces to it. So the first and perhaps the most important is the user experience or the user interface, right? And what we have done that, we are totally channel agnostic. By that, what I mean is, if you are an industrial company that is, for example, using Microsoft Teams, which is their new Microsoft new chat platform, they're pushing it in a big way. Or you could be using Alexa, right? You have an Echo Dot in your office, or it could be Slack. It doesn't matter to us. The channel or the way you interact with ChimeBot can be any of these channels, whatever you're already using. So you use that channel to speak to the system. And then, as you said, our ChimeBot's platform will abstract the complexity. You speak from Alexa, get me my purchase order or approve this notification. And our ChimeBot will go back, do whatever needful is, and come back and tell you it's done. So that's what ChimeBot is. But the front end of the user experience, does that make sense?
Yeah. So pretty much I can, in the light of time, and if in light of what I'm always, you know, can I compress time? I can go out, go out, get an Alexa. Here, plug it in, boom. Okay, now I've got that interface. Now I've got that user interface already established. Right. Now you're saying, okay, let's bring on that ChimeBot, and now you can create that custom interface specific to your business using Alexa.
Right, exactly. You got it. You nailed it.
That's
so
see,
power and the simplicity and the power.
That's huge.
Right.
No,
so
let me ask you, but
go
ahead.
Sorry. Okay. So a couple of ways people are using voice. So again, just want to say, you know, I know that your audience is industrial focused, but it's not all just about asset management, right? Every company has human resources, sales, and things like that. Mm-hmm. So your customers can use these digital assistants or chatbots in several areas. So we have a large beverage company in South Africa that is using a Chime chatbot for HR. So their employees are applying for leave. They just write in English, I want to apply for leave. The bot will say when and where and whatever, right? You just type in your answer, and the bot will actually send that to your boss for his or her approval. So that's a human resource bot. Similarly, we have a procurement bot. We are finding a lot of interest in procurement. Industrial companies buy a lot of stuff. So what if instead of you having to answer the phone call from your vendor, hey, where is my payment? They could just do a self-service with the bots, you know, and just query, say, where is my payment? I'm vendor number 54. And the bot will give you your payment status. So again, these chatbots are not limited to the asset management world. For an industrial company, they can use it in any of their business functions.
Okay, I'm gonna pose a scenario for you, which is pretty cool. I'm all about filling that funnel, bringing in sales, because I believe, this is just me, that every company, and I mean every company, is interested in increasing their market share and bringing in greater sales. It just is what it is. I know it. Everybody else knows it. Operations very important. Got it. No problem there. But in the case of sales, give me a scenario that this particular solution can truly help enhance and bring in greater value.
Right. So I'll step back here. So in the area of sales, you can also, you know, enable or increase your sales by using mobile applications, right? Because that gives the salesperson the power to actually, you know, retrieve customer data. What was my last order? The pricing, real time from backend systems. So that's the mobile app piece of it, right? So that's tried and tested. So that's certainly, I want your listeners to not forget that mobile apps is also very important, right? In all these areas. But moving to this new technology of the chatbot, what it does so why would you even want to have maybe consider chatbot? Because one of the things is that when it comes to mobile apps, there is some inertia to it, right? You have to download the app, and then the apps have to be maintained. The user interface has to be maintained. There's some training involved. So there is some friction when it comes to mobile apps, right? And that's why the genesis of chatbots is there is no interface, right? With the chatbot, you're just typing. So there's nothing to maintain. Therefore, it becomes more cost effective for companies to maintain chatbots. So coming now so now that we've established why one would, you know, have a chatbot in addition to a mobile app, let's look at a scenario where one of our customers using it. So this is a customer field sale. They go all over, meet a bunch of retailers and sell stuff. So now what they can do is just with any message, they can just type in, hey, you know, what is the credit status of the customer I'm visiting, right? And the chatbot can just reply very simply, you know, hey, so many dollars. So now you know, oh, what is my invoice status? And the chatbot will immediately answer, this is it. So if I'm a salesperson, now entering the customer's office, if I know there's an invoice due, I can gently remind them, oh, by the way, there's an invoice left. Or I can be prompted, in terms of cross-selling. Hey, you sold this valve, but these two valves are also complementary to this product. So the whole idea is the chatbot can push intelligent and contextual information to my device as I'm about to enter the meeting. So I think that's where we are finding our customers using chatbots to really enable their salespeople to be more intelligent with real-time information as they step into a meeting.
And there's no argument about it being simple and accessible.
Right.
Right.
That's
the key is, I'll be the first to admit, I don't like writing emails because it's typing. It's then crafting in my head what that message needs to be. It means reviewing the message, making sure that it's cogent and it doesn't, whatever it might be. There's a lot of effort, albeit maybe minimal. It's still, there's an effort in trying to craft that email. But in the case of what you're talking about, I can sit there and say, all right, I need to understand a little bit about this customer, and I'm interested in this, and this. Can you give me some detail on those parameters? Boom, boom, boom. Done.
Right. And that's what and then the intelligence comes in. So next time the same salesperson is doing their rounds every week, maybe, and the chatbot now knows that Scott has these 5 main customers. So next time as you're going, the chatbot can proactively push information about those 5 customers to you as you're driving. So
That's
because
exactly.
it's learned about you, that's the whole idea of artificial intelligence coming in.
And see, once again, you're addressing something that's very important and big in my life, is the amount of wasted time that we experience within the industrial space trying to gather information, documents, this, that, the other, you name it. There is time that's being consumed because we've just got to get the information, and there's no real efficient way of being able to do that.
And you mentioned documents and information, and I think I want to talk about digital forms. I don't know if you need a break or should we keep going here or...
I'll tell you what, let's take a break because we're running up against a hard break here. So thank you very much for joining the Industrial Talk podcast. We're talking tech, baby. Thank you for joining, and we will be right back. Hey, once again, this is Scott McKenzie with Industrial Talk. If you like what you're listening to, please feel free to sign up for the free podcast as well as the blogs. I'll try to keep it all relevant to your business and hopefully be able to provide some insight into what we do at Industrial Talk and what you do as a professional. Hope to see you soon. Thank you. All right, we're in the last segment, everybody, of the Industrial Talk podcast. We're talking to Alok Pant. He is the CEO. Can you name that company? Name your company.
Yeah, Unvired.
I like it, man. So he's the CEO of Unvired. That's Alok Coke. Yeah, there you go. Alok Pant. Very good, my friend. Now, you mentioned in our last segment, talking a little bit about that digital form, and in the industrial world, boy, we have forms, we have paperwork, we have things like that. Let's talk a little bit about how your solution can do.
Right, that's what we are finding in the industrial world. People have safety forms, EHS forms, and all kinds of forms, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And asset management forms. So typically, even today, a lot of these forms are still paper forms. People fill them up, then they give it to somebody else to put the data in a system, and it gets lost. And there's a lot of problems here, right? So think about compliance and safety. So lately, we've found a lot of demand, and we've got several customers. We have this new solution called Digital Forms. It's an application that basically converts the paper form into an HTML digital form. So now it looks very nice, easy to fill in. You could fill it on a laptop or any mobile device, and you fill your temperature, pressure. It also does, hey, does this smell okay, or the ABO testing, yes, no, any kinds of structured, unstructured data. You fill the form, and then you can send it to your system of record, whether it is Maximo, SAP, plant maintenance, wherever, or SharePoint, OpenText, because documents are stored in all these systems. And a couple of things that are very neat about this is that, and these forms are actually, we enable people to, first of all, they work offline. So a lot of times when you're on the oil rig or in a plant, you may not have connectivity. So they work offline, that's very important. And more importantly, they integrate with your backend systems. And thirdly, what it does is it gives you the ability to take actions from the form itself. So you notice something is defective, is broken. So you don't have to go to another system. Right from the form, there's a button saying, hey, create notification. You hit that button and it will create a notification telling somebody, hey, this valve is broken, the bulb is broken, fix it. So the idea is you take action from the forms themselves. So what does it all do? Now think about it. All this data you have is digital. So again, I'll come back to our chemicals customer, Konica, right? So like every other company, they have these inspections or audits every 6 months. And before they were in a room, take out all the paper. And now all they have to do is Jan 1, June 30, hit the button, and all the data is there, right? So the audit is so much easier. Think safety, think compliance, and think, most importantly, you have this data. Now you can process it, right? To predict what machine could break, because you have this data, and make better decisions, not on some routine, hey, every 6 months we'll do this, but more on predictive maintenance. So I think the digital forms is another enabler for predictive maintenance.
Here's what I see. We have within the industrial space and pretty much in the economy today, a lot of churn in resources, right? And you have that intellectual capital that just leaves the company. And in the past, we had no way of really capturing what, Joe understood or Susie understood before they left. And we're left with a huge gap in knowledge.
Yes.
What I see here is the ability to be able to say, okay, we understand the churn that happens within the resource, market, but the knowledge, because we've captured it effectively, stays within our company. And then somebody like me saying, hey, I'm the new guy. I can sit there and get up to speed because AI, your solution says, hey, the last time you looked at this thing or did this is what happened. And it pushes information.
Correct. So a couple of things here. So you have on the forms, you can see the trend data for the last 5 readings, if you will. So if your temperature is going up, you become cautious. But the other point you made, the point you made about retaining the knowledge is very good, because in the same digital forms, there is a place where you can add your notes and comments. And think about it, it's not just you're entering the data, but if you encourage your workers to start adding notes, now you're building a treasure of knowledge base, which is all digital. And so when the person is retired, long after they retire, you have those notes and comments already captured instead of having lost on paper. Right? The other thing it does, it lets you access the latest documents. And this is very important. So from the digital forms application, you can actually, I'm talking of standard operating procedures. You can make sure that the worker is accessing the latest document from your document repository, whether it's SharePoint, OpenText, whatever it is, instead of using something on their laptop. So now you coming back to safety, compliance. So the ability to access documents real time, the latest copies of it, and adding notes, etc., really makes for a much more safer and a more compliant process.
I'll tell you right now, I'm putting on my old school hat where I worked at PricewaterhouseCoopers. I was a consultant, energy, and we were installing systems. And one of the things that, and it's just like this it was a big deal. The interface, you got the system and then create the interface so that a couple of systems can talk. And then it was always a big deal. It's like, oh no, this customization, all of this stuff was just constantly heavy lifting. But it seems today that doesn't exist. I can customize anything. I can interface pretty much with anything, relatively simple. And now all of a sudden that there's no reason why things can't talk to each other and glean and gain that information out of there.
Exactly right. With this whole revolution of APIs or web services, getting information in and out is very, very easy now. And that opens up, whole world of new opportunities to digitize, right? So one thing we haven't talked about a whole lot. So we talked of chatbot, we talked of digital form. I want to spend a minute on mobile applications, because that is still a core of digital transformation. And I think that could be of immediate benefit to all your listeners, right? So for example, in the industrial world, let me just take a minute to discuss a couple of case studies, because I think that really helps. So we have a utility customer in New Zealand, Well Networks, and where basically it's an electric utility. So they are using our mobile apps for essentially going out there and taking readings on these transformers, substations, and actually doing work orders and also doing audits, right? Indeed, whether the work was done or not, and some other things. So, and the thing about New Zealand is a beautiful country, but very, very hilly. And when there's a lot of hills, bad connectivity, a lot of offline usage. So they're using these apps in an offline world very effectively and integrated with their system, which is SAP, right? Because one of the key things is you have to ultimately sync up with your systems. Otherwise, it breaks, right? The data has to be synced up with your backend system. So that's a utility customer using mobile apps for asset management, different areas. Then we have an oil and gas company in Canada, which is actually using, mobile apps to transfer equipment from one rig to the other, or also to do inspections of the rig, because you can imagine this is mission critical. A rig is down, you're talking millions of dollars a day. So they are using our mobile apps for maintenance, for work orders, etc. So these are real world experiences, and they all work offline, where mobile apps can actually, really be used to manage your assets better, to transfer your assets, and to do your audits, etc. So I don't want to downplay the mobile applications piece of this digital world.
Oh no, absolutely not. Let me ask this one question before we depart. If I came to you and I said, "Hey, Alok, I need a mobile app to do XYZ. You've run the process. This is a solution that we need." How difficult it is to sort of prop up that mobile app to get it into production and get it out there in the field?
Yeah, so the good news is mobile apps is a world of iterations and quick ROIs. So, again, so we understand the requirement, but for a typical mobile app, you could be up and running between 4 to 6 weeks for the first iteration.
Wow.
So this is quick payback.
Wow, that's a no-brainer right there, because I was thinking, oh my gosh, it's got to go through this, code that, do this, and it's like 6 months down the road.
No.
That is value.
Because another thing that we learn is that in the world of mobile apps, right, the user feedback is very, very important, and you give people one candy, they'll want 5 more. Believe me, because it's so exciting, it changes their lives, right? So the whole here is be quick, the first iteration, and then work in sprints of 2 to 4 weeks.
See, I love that. I love that. That is a great approach to that mobile app. Get something out there, get it going, and then continue to improve upon it based off of feedback, based off of just whatever they might be, and then interject those improvements into the next version, and then you just keep on going. That's a phenomenal approach, my friend. So we got to wrap it up. And how do people get a hold of you? Because I think they need to.
Right. So, my email, let me give my email to people. Spell it out, my first name. So let me spell it out. alok.pant, P-A-N-T, at unvired.com. So it's alok.pant@unvired.com.
That's right. That's UNV as in Victor, IRED.com. Absolutely. And then, of course, you're out there on LinkedIn. Of course, that's Alok Pant out there. And then, of course, you've got some company related, and that would be Unvired, UNVIRED. And that's out in LinkedIn as well as Facebook. And I think you're Twittered.
Right.
Okay. So listen, what's that?
I'm very happy for your listeners to approach me. As I mentioned before, we are passionate about customer success. That's the number one thing that drives me.
That is amazing. That is amazing. Alok, thank you very much. I think listeners out there, you need to take note of this particular conversation, because I know the technology is there. It is there to help you be successful. And Alok is definitely an example of that. His passion for you, your success through technology. And I got to tell you, all the arguments that were made in the past where it takes too long, it's too complex, and I can't interface this, I can't do this. There's no can't in this particular conversation. It's all yes. And it's all yes in a positive way. So I highly recommend everyone out there to get a hold of him. He's given you, and I'll have all this information out on my website, all his contact information. You're going to be nuts not to get a contact.
And Scott, finally, I'm based in Houston, Texas. Very easy to reach. And you can give them my cell phone number on, so people can find me.
You're awesome. That's Alok Pant. Alok Pant. He's amazing. Thank you very much. Stay tuned. We're going to wrap this whole show up. Appreciate your time. Welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast. Thank you.
You're listening to the Industrial Talk Podcast Network.
Well, that's a wrap. I enjoyed that conversation. That was Alok Pant. Alok Pant, CEO of Unvired, and we were talking technology. Now, you industrial warriors out there, you either embrace it or you don't. I guarantee you technology is going to continue to impact in a positive way both the industry, companies, and your career. So bottom line, brace it, figure it out, and just roll with it, because it's going to be out there, because there's some exciting stuff that's going to be out there, and it's going to change your life. So get connected out there. You know, you can find me out at industrialtalk.com. You know, I have a LinkedIn account. You know, I have a Facebook account. I'm out there on Twitter. I've got a YouTube channel. I got it all out there. So if you need to get a hold of me, you can. There's no excuse. And I would love to hear from you. And remember, you know, we're trying to highlight, once again, industrial heroes. So if you have anybody that falls into that category of doing extraordinary things within the industrial world, please just go out to industrialtalk.com, send me a note, boom, I'm good to go. And we're just going to reach out and highlight them on this podcast. So, and you want to learn more? Industrial Academy, we're going to continue to feed it. So thank you very much. Be safe out there, and I look forward to talking to you next week.